Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Palkia in the Origin form in the Ultra League. So yeah, we're going to take a look at this Pokemon. We don't have the new Legacy move yet because I am not in Los Angeles, but you can still remote raid those Pokemon, but you don't get the Legacy move and you cannot get the shiny Pokemon of it. So that's kind of the trade-off, but you can still take a look at this Pokemon here today and we can talk a little bit about it. I made a video earlier already about what kind of badge you might want to take for the Global Tour, which is going to be in a week, so definitely check this video out as well. Going to be a lot of content for the Sinnoh tour coming up next week as well for preparation, so definitely stay tuned, subscribe to the channel and like this video. But let's take a look here today at the Ultra League variant of the the Palkia Origin form, of course. I guess, of course, like basically Giratina Origin has been in the game for ages, but Palkia and Dialga is only new in there. There's going to be another showcase for me later on as well for the Dialga. But yeah, let's take a look at this Pokemon. This Pokemon is really cool because it has a better stats than the normal Palkia. It has the same typing, it has the same moveset. So basically you just have a straight up upgrade for Palkia, and this is definitely something that you want to try to get over this weekend if you can get some remote raids in already to get good IVs like I actually got here. This was my second raid. I got a 15, 15, 13, and that was really cool. But also for the global weekend, I would recommend you to choose the Pearl ticket as well if you want to have more in-depth variant of this. I made a video earlier about it, but yeah, basically guaranteeing that Palkia has the new Legacy move, Spatial Rent, is really important for you most likely, unless you can use an Elite Term for it. I'm not too sure about it, Niantic didn't say anything about it. But this Pokemon is so much better than the normal form, and here, sadly, first game we're going to lose, but we had a lot of great wins coming up. So, let's take a look at the next opponent. Here we're going to have a great lead for us. We're going to have the Swampert in the lead against our Trevenant. And so we can swap out into our Palkia against the Skeledirge. We can go ahead and go for the Awkward Tail. Not as ideal of a matchup. While we double resist the fast move on Incinerate, they're going to have Disarming Voice, which is going to be super effective against us. But look at the Dragon Breath damage coming in as well. Kinda crazy how much damage this Pokemon is going to do, and it's going to be even wilder when you can take a look at the Master League for this Pokemon, which is going to happen for me next week when we have this Pokemon more available. So like next week basically, when we have it globally available, because I need more XL Candy and I'm not going to use my rare XL Candy for this Pokemon. So definitely stay tuned for the Master League showcase for this Pokemon and the Dialga as well, which is going to come then as well. But yeah, let's take a look here at the Palkia. Going to be able to get up to another Awkward Tail, and that's not all. I can even reach another Awkward Tail against the opponent, and just having the super high amount of damage from the fast move plus fast Awkward Tail is really cool. Here we're going to run Fire Blast just as a space coverage move, which actually I actually got off once, which you're going to see here as well. But of course, if you're going to get the Legacy move of Spatial Rent is going to be by far preferred for this Pokemon. Spatial Rent is a 50 energy move that does 95 damage, and basically for Palkia before there was a little bit the issue to get to the secondary charge move because you were not generating energy as fast. You don't really have a great defensive typing. It's actually an okay one, but like it's not the greatest one ever because you're going to get super effective damage from something like Dragon Breath and Charm. But now you're going to have a cheaper move which is going to help rate way more with it. So, let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have the hardest answer for this team, which I feel like is kind of happening quite often to me for those teams for the Ultra League when I just try to build something spicy or like something interesting for newer Pokemon. They're always kind of weak to the Alone Sandslash, but it is what it is. We're going to see here that I can go for a bait against the opponent's Giratina, and we are actually getting the debuff, which is really unfortunate for the opponent, but really fortunate for us, as we can now let this move go through, but we can just go for the full farm down. This would be way more problematic if we didn't get the debuff, so this is a thing as well where debuffs just really matter. I know people complain that I complain about the debuffs chance or whatever the entire time, but it's just something that you kind of have to consider how impactful in terms of what you can do basically with the Pokemon. The debuff is for Scald or here also Octazooka. Octazooka of course a little bit more than Scald, but yeah, it's very impactful and very important to get the debuff. If you don't get the debuff, it's a completely different game. But yeah, here we're going to see the opponent catching a move onto the Galissapod, which I was kind of sad about because I don't know, I think it would have been better if I just would have been able to go into my Palkia against the Golisopod and hit the Shadow Ball against the opponent's Alolan Sandslash, but great play by the opponent here as well. I'm going to try to go for the full farm down, hopefully I'm going to be able to do that, and I am not. They're sadly running Exeter. I was expecting they would run Aerial Ace, but Exeter is going to be way more tricky for me to deal with. Now, can we still reach a Shadow Ball? We can actually still reach a Shadow Ball in time. This is going to connect against the opponent's Alolan Sandslash, and it's going to get... not a knockout, but it's fine. Let's take a look at the next opponent here. It's going to be my girlfriend, which is kind of funny. So let's take what she's going to run here. We're going to see the Grand Ball swap in with Snarl, which is something that I actually love as well. The Grand Ball with Snarl is one of my favorite save swaps in the Ultra League, especially as you're going to be able to get out potentially something like Steel-type Pokemon, which is always really cool. We're going to see as well that I'm gonna get the attack drop here against the Grand Ball, which is really impactful as well. Again, this would be a completely different game if I didn't get this debuff, because then this crunch would have knocked me out, and I would have not got to another move here, and I would not force her now to also throw another charge move afterwards, which is going to be kind of nice here. We don't get the debuff, does actually not really matter at all. But like this, they're forced to go for another charge move. Without the debuff, they would have just been able to knock me out and would have had a way better spot for themselves. But they can still at least go for another crunch here against our Trevenant, as we can get a ton of energy, because we kind of want to get rid of the final shield of her here, as they're gonna see they're gonna swap into the Charizard. Charizard is going to not appreciate a Shadow Ball. We might see actually a shield coming up here, and it's not going to be a shield, and so we can swap out into the Palkia trying to farm them down, but they're going to run another Dragon Breath user in the back here with the Dragonite. We will see here as well that the Alcatraz is going to get shielded, which is going to be a little bit annoying for us, because now we are going to have 2 shields still, but the opponent does have no shields, but I don't really have energy, so it's going to be a little bit tricky, as we can still try to go for the full farm down here. It's going to be so close. Let's see, can we actually still get the move off? And I think Charizard might win CMP against us as well. We will see that we can just barely farm them all the way down, and we can still get to the charge move here. And yeah, we're gonna be able to get the knockout here. Good game there to my girlfriend, much love as well. But let's move on to the next opponent. We're going to see here the Registeel, which is going to be a great lead for me. This is going to be the lead which I kind of want to face with this team here, because my backline, both Dragon Breath users, not going to really appreciate, of course, the Registeel. Going to be able to resist Dragon Breath is going to be a little bit tricky. We don't have coverage like the Dragonite with something like a superpower. So yeah, we kind of like to stay in here. They're going to get the debuff immediately, which again is very impactful, which is going to now allow them to easily, not easily, but they can take basically 2 Shadow Balls, which forces me also to use a shield here now as well, because I have to kind of keep my Trevenant around. And so I'm gonna try to go for another charge move now. They didn't get the debuff here, which is kind of important as well for us, because this is going to allow us to put them into range where I can easily even swap out and go for a full Dragon Breath down. So let's see here, the opponent actually going to use a shield, which I did not expect at this point. So I saved myself my Trevenant, which might come in clutch lay down as well. They're gonna get the attack drop, all fine. Kind of what you would expect, and they're going to make a great play here, swapping into the Poliwrath onto the charge move of mine, which is going to be the Octazooka. We don't get the debuff, which is really bad for us, because otherwise the opponent most likely would have been still forced to go for a charge move, but they try to go for the full farm down, but it does not really work out. But sadly, we are still debuffed, so this is going to do a ton of damage, but would have knocked them out. But luckily, this was a CMP tie, which is actually so much better for us, as we just gonna basically freely get rid of 45 energy from the opponent. We can just let this next move go through as well. This is going to be another Icy Wind. We can survive it with our Palkia. But what we're gonna see here is that the opponent is going to run in the back the Annihilate. And I play this a little bit funny just for the sake of the video. I let this move go through. You should not do this if you actually want to play this, basically because the opponent would be able, like you would have been able to just go for the Shadow Ball and knock out the Annihilate. But because I didn't shield, I can now go into my Palkia, still have the shield for now, and of course you know what is going to happen next. We have to go for it. It is the only way to go. The Fire Blast is coming through against the Annihilate, but 1 HP in a dream, and this was so worth it to play it risky, because it's gonna be a big boom. Next opponent, let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have the Greeter in the lead, which is going to be a little bit of an annoying matchup for us, because as you're gonna see here, we're going to have the Trevenant, which is really bad for us as, yeah, Shadow Claw, double resisted, they have Crunch, super effective, not ideal. But they're gonna go for a charge move here as well, gonna go for the Crunch against the Kingdra, not gonna get the debuff, which is kinda nice, but I'm gonna go for the safe play, because Outrage is going to allow you to either get a ton of damage, nearly a knockout, or a shield. I take the shield, that's fine, they're mostly still going to be forced to use a charge move against me anyway, which they're gonna do now, and so I can align my Trevenant, and I'm fairly certain that the opponent should be in farm down range if I use one shield against the opponent here. So let's see if I'm correct with this. If this is a Shadow Ball, I should be able to farm them all the way down, and it is indeed a Shadow Ball, and so we can just go ahead, go for the full farm down, get a ton of energy, and I decide to swap out immediately into my Palkia. As the Greeting comes back in, we're going to see as well that they're gonna go for a charge move. I have to let this move go through. Trevenant is my win con at this point. We have to hope there's something in the back that I can deal with. It's going to be a Tentacruel. And I make a mistake. I overfarm by a little bit too much. I should have went for my charge move early on, but like this, I'm forced to use a shield here. And I think this actually matters quite a bit, because if the opponent would have went ahead and shielded this Awkward Tail beforehand, and I still had a shield left basically, I would have been in such a great spot. But I'm also not too sure if a Shadow Ball would have done enough damage against the opponent's Tentacruel. But now we can at least go up to basically 2 Shadow Balls. I am definitely in range where a second Crunch would knock me out. I don't have a shield, and this not having a shield definitely going to hurt me now, because I can go for a charge move. This is going to do some decent damage, but as you're gonna see here, this is not going to be enough to be a 2-shot, and it's going to be very close, but yeah, Crunch is going to be easily a 2-shot, getting the defense drop here, which literally does not matter at all. Another Crunch is all they really need anyway. We are still not in body slam range, but as you're gonna see here, it is insanely close, and imagine I still had the shield left, I would have still got this win here basically. But this was my own mistake, so good game to the opponent, well played, and we can move on to the final one. Final game for today. Again, if you enjoyed this video so far, would I really appreciate if a league alive. Exactly, that's what I wanted to say. But yeah, we're gonna see here the Vikavolt in the back. This is going to be a great matchup for us, because this is going to be good for the Dragon Breath, as a Vikavolt is a squishy boy, a squishy bug, is going to take a charge move here. Let's see if they're going to use a shield, or if we're going to win the lottery again. We're going to win the lottery, and so I don't really have to care too much about what the opponent is going to go for. And they just decided to say, yeah, okay, I'm fine with it. I'm just going to not throw a charge move, because why would I? But I definitely can take it, as the opponent goes now into a fire type in the Scourge, and we're gonna be so lucky that we get another attack drop. I'm definitely was a little bit more lucky with the Octazooka drops than, yeah, statistically possible or whatever, but they're going to have their Spice Pick, which they're always going to run, which is going to be the Mr. Mime. And at this point, I could close out the matchup already, but also because I kind of want to have fun with the viewers that I'm battling against, I'm just going to decide to let this move go through. I kind of wanted the Mr. Mime to knock me out here already, so I waited out, but then they waited out as well. And so, yeah, then I went for another fast move, and so the opponent is going to go into the Skeldurge, and I just want to show off my Palkia. That's all I really wanted here. And so, this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this one, as I can see at least how much Disarming Voice is doing. A ton of damage, but yeah, that's going to be it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and also check out later on, hopefully, the video about the Dialga. But otherwise, check out the video on the screen if you want to know which badge you kind of want to go for, and I see you then. Bye-bye.